Listen, this is one of the most sadistic true crime cases in modern Japan.
The incident involving the discovery of partial remains belonging to a female university student from Shimane Prefecture in the mountains of Hiroshima.
It came to light when an innocent mushroom picker walked the beautiful countryside of the Garyu Mountains and found something that should never be found. Now let me take you back to November 6th, 2009. An ordinary autumn morning, an ordinary hike. A man goes up Mount Garyu in Kita, Hiroshima in Hiroshima Prefecture, doing something simple, picking mushrooms. Near the summit of Mount Garyu is a popular spot for collecting spring water, viewing autumn beech leaves, mushroom foraging, and hiking. As he reaches the top near a slope, he sees it. A human head. A woman's head left out in the open. He calls the police. When officers arrive, they immediately note details that turn the stomach even before they find anything else. Bruising on the face, a shoe print visible on her left cheek, ligature marks around the neck, and cuts that appear to have been made with a knife. Her eyes now hemorrhaging, signs investigators associate with strangulation. And strangulation becomes the suspected cause of death. Now listen to the next part, because it's the detail that tells you the killer wasn't sloppy. There was no blood at the scene, no sign that she was killed on that mountain, which means Mount Garyu wasn't the murder site. It was a dumping ground. Police understand that immediately. They surge manpower, hundreds of officers combing the area. And because this mountain sits right at the border between Hiroshima and Shimane prefectures, both prefectures' forces link up and run a joint investigation. Because they're not just looking for evidence, they're looking for the rest of her. The next day, November 7th, more remains were recovered down the slope below the cliff. A left thigh bone, no flesh, no blood, and a left ankle. This isn't one discovery, it's a process, piece by piece. On November 8th, near where the head was found, police discover a torso wrapped in a vinyl bag. It has burn marks, it is missing its limbs, and investigators quickly realize something else. The torso showed severe post-mortem mutilation. The breasts were removed, and the internal organs had been removed as well. I'm going to keep this factual and clinical, because the horror is in what the facts suggest. The medical examiner determines that different knives likely caused the wounds, and that some injuries may have been inflicted both before and after death. The estimated time of death is placed between October 26th and October 31st, 2009. The autopsy was unable to recover any DNA from the perpetrator. Blood tests were also performed on the torso and the head that had been discovered earlier to determine whether the victim was exposed to drugs such as sleeping pills, but all results came back negative. The vinyl bag is examined. Investigators believe it may be the kind used to package and store phone books connected to the NTT distribution. For a moment, it sounds like a lead, but it goes nowhere because similar bags were produced and circulated widely. On November 9th, they found her left foot. Then, on November 19th, they recovered tiny fragments, pieces of flesh, nails, and bone, believed to be from toes. And still, crucial parts were never found. Limbs, organs, missing. With no blood at the scene, investigators believe she was killed somewhere else, then transported into these mountains and disposed of over time. Furthermore, as the missing organs included the reproductive organs, police deduced that the victim may have been essayed and the perpetrator likely removed them to destroy evidence. Some speculated cannibalism because so much was missing, but police could never confirm what happened to the unrecovered parts. But the core reality is already clear. Whoever did this had privacy, time, and control, and felt safe enough to return to the mountain again and again. And at this point, police face the simplest, most paralyzing problem of all. They still don't know who she is. The absence of clothing on the body or nearby suggests she was abandoned naked. Police did find one black shoe, believed to be from the victims, and a plastic bag that may have been used to transport her body. To hear more cases like this, clear and factual, please subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, thank you. Now, let's find out who she was. Before the mountains ever gave her a name, Shimane City had already reported her missing. Police in Hiroshima and Shimane compared missing persons files against the estimated time of death. Shimane investigators land on a match, a 19-year-old university student. Her name is Miyako Hiraoka. She was from Kagawa Prefecture. In April 2009, she enrolled at the Shimane University in Hamada as a first-year student. She was known as serious, focused, and quiet. No known enemies, no boyfriend, no romantic relationships. Nothing that suggested she'd run away. She liked English and had been planning an exchange program in Russia. She worked part-time at an ice cream shop inside a local shopping center to help with school costs and save money. Her shift ended around 9 p.m. To get back to her dorm, she had to walk around 2 kilometers through an isolated wood stretch, often alone. There was another alternative, which was to take a direct bus from Hamada bus station and drop off at the dorm, but Miyako decided to walk back instead. She'd been thinking about quitting for a safer job closer to campus. The last confirmed sighting of her was on October 26, 2009, leaving the shopping center after her shift. She said goodbye to her colleague and took the garbage out on her way out. On October 27th, she didn't show up to the university and also didn't show up for work. Her boss tried calling. Her phone was off. He found her phone number on her resume from the job application she used to apply, and then he contacted her parents. Her parents, still in Kagawa, tried calling her, but her phone was turned off. They called the university dorm. She hadn't returned. On October 28th, they traveled to Shimane and filed a missing persons report. People who knew her told the police the same thing. Her disappearance made no sense. And one more detail surfaced. Students and staff reported an unfamiliar vehicle near the university, with a driver who kept trying to approach female students. At this point, police finally had what they didn't have on the mountain: a name, a date, a last known location, and a narrow window where she vanished. Police go straight to the last place she was seen, the shopping center. Mall CCTV shows Miyako at 9:16 p.m. on October 26th, wearing black and white striped clothing, appearing to prepare to leave. This was a first-year student finishing a late shift. No drama, no risky lifestyle, just a routine walk back to her dorm. After that, she's not captured on camera again. No footage of her leaving the area, no footage of her reaching the route back to the dorm, just a gap. The same footage shows a white Toyota parked near the employee entrance. The camera doesn't clearly capture anyone entering the car, but another mall employee reported seeing a young woman get into that vehicle. They couldn't make out the plate of the occupants. On November 2nd, police publicly announced her disappearance and asked for more information. 4 days later, November 6th, a severed head was discovered on Mount Garyu. DNA testing confirmed the remains were Miyako Hiraoka. Mount Garyu is about 25 kilometers from Hamada, roughly a 50-minute drive. Police believed the victim was killed somewhere else and transported across prefectural borders to dispose of the body, because there was almost no blood at the dump site. They also believe the body parts were likely placed at night, since Mount Garyu is a tourist area in the daytime. On November 30th, 2009, her shoe was discovered at the top of the shrine stairs, a short walk up a slope around 600 meters from the dormitory. On the night of the incident, a construction site security guard reported a key sighting. Around 9:30 p.m., he saw a woman near a shrine on Route 9, 1 kilometer east of the town, wearing a dress matching Hiraoka's. However, his colleague stationed further east did not see her. And yet, despite all of this, they still had no identified suspect. only the idea of a white Toyota connected to her last known movements. And you're about to see why, because the white Toyota didn't just appear once, it haunted this case and then vanished like it was never there. Now listen, everything police had came down to one thin thread: a white Toyota near the employee entrance and a witness who said they saw a young woman get inside. But the footage didn't give them a license plate. It didn't give them the driver. It didn't even give them the moment she entered the car clearly enough to remove that doubt. Police checked other cameras and roads, trying to track where that Toyota went. They got nothing. No route, no confirmed direction, no identity. So the case did what cold cases always do. It went cold, and then it expanded. Police questioned and checked everyone they thought could match the logistics of the crime. People skilled with blades, people who hunted, people with medical experience, people with military backgrounds. They checked butcher shops and knife purchases. They searched vacant houses near the mountain. Still nothing. The white Toyota became a rumor with no proof strong enough to arrest anyone, and Miyoko's case started to freeze over. Months passed, then years. The town was totally rattled by the horrible crime. Everyone was living in fear with the killer still at large. Shimane Prefectural University moved the student curfew to 10:15 p.m. They distributed alarms and pushed the government for extra protection of younger students. They also demanded more street lights, extra late buses, and required local businesses to let student workers clock out earlier each time. They distributed flyers, posters, and public appeals. Police even offered a reward of 3 million yen. And every year on October 26th, officers returned to Hamada, handing out flyers at the JR Hamada station and at the shopping center where she worked, printing her CCTV image and a map of her last known route. Tips came in, but most went nowhere. With no suspect and no trial, the case started changing in the public's mind. It stopped feeling like an investigation and started feeling like a local ghost story. That's when a strange broadcast clip began circulating. A woman's voice can be heard saying something disturbing. I'm going to play a disputed clip that circulated. Many people believed it was edited. Listen.
Here's the latest search update from Hiroshima.
This is the entrance to the forest road on Mount Garyu in Kita Hiroshima Town, Hiroshima Prefecture.
And this is the direct translation from Japanese. It really hurts. Why is it me? Some people believed it was real. Others said it sounded too clean, too clear. Either way, it became part of the folklore around the case, a community trying to force an ending onto a story that refused to end. And through all of this, that one hard detail remained: a white Toyota, a missing plate, a missing driver. The answer was already recorded. They just didn't know how to read it yet. 7 years after the murder, police went back to the old CCTV. On December 17th, 2016, they reanalyzed the footage using improved license plate recognition technology, aka N-System in Japan, and also reviewed people who moved away around the time of the crime. This time, the system flagged a specific white Toyota connected to key moments. Records showed the car entering Hamada from Matsuda on October 26, 2009, and returning to Matsuda on October 27th. The car would drive only in back roads, rarely on major roads where traffic records were taken. Police believed it matched the white Toyota seen near the mall. For the first time, the white car wasn't just a description. It was a specific vehicle with a traceable movement, and that meant it had an owner. And when the police finally traced who the owner of that white Toyota was, they didn't find a drifter or a random tourist. They found someone with a job, a routine, and a reason to be on those roads. The vehicle led police to a man, Yoshiharu Yano. Yano was born in April 1976 in Shimonoseki in Yamaguchi Prefecture. He had a younger brother, and people who knew him described him as serious and quiet. He was physically capable, athletic in school, and had a black belt in judo. That matters because controlling someone quickly and quietly doesn't require a weapon first, it requires leverage. He played in a band and worked as a drummer. He later claimed focal dystonia in his left hand, which ended that path. At the time Miyako vanished, Yano was 33 years old, and his criminal record mattered. Years later, he had attacked women and used a knife to threaten them, and had served prison time. After his release, he rebuilt a normal-looking life fast. By May 2009, he was working in solar panel sales and became a top performer, signing multi-million yen contracts within months. His company transferred him to Matsuda in Shimane Prefecture and promoted him, meaning he had a legitimate reason to travel into Hamada. Matsuda is the city right next to Hamada where Miyako went missing. To the people around him, he looked like a man getting his life back on track. To investigators, the situation looked simple and terrifying. Miyako disappears the night the white Toyota is in Hamada. Her body is dumped less than an hour away, and that car belongs to a man with a history of violence against women. But suspicion isn't enough. Police needed proof that placed Miyako with the suspect, something that could stand on its own, and that proof was coming from somewhere no one expected. Now listen, for 7 years police had theories, but theories don't hold up in court. In the renewed investigation, they searched the suspect's belongings, and that's where everything changed. They found a USB memory stick with a digital camera. Inside were 57 images. They showed Miyako's body before and after dismemberment, Miyako in a bathtub at his residence in Matsuda, and marks consistent with strangulation. The images also revealed a knife used for dismemberment. The perpetrator's feet were captured in some of the photos. A search of the rented house in Matsuda City, where the man was living at the time, revealed no significant traces, but the background of the photos suggested that mutilation likely occurred in the bathroom. While the exact location and date of the murder could not be determined, traffic history from the N system indicates he entered Hamada City from Matsuda City on October 26, 2009, and returned to Matsuda City the following day on the 27th. Therefore, it is highly likely that she was murdered during that time or shortly after his return. Most importantly, the images placed the suspect with her and at the center of the crime. After that, it wasn't possible anymore. It was proven. Here's the part that changes the whole story. The suspect wasn't out there for 7 years, hiding. He was already dead. On November 8, 2009, a white Toyota crashed on a highway in Mini in Yamaguchi Prefecture. It hit a guardrail and burst into flames. Inside were 2 bodies, the suspect and his elderly mother. The man had gone with his mother to visit his father's grave. On the way back, the car crashed into a guardrail. Police treated it as an accident, but who knows what really caused it. Reports noted no signs of braking. And this accident, and where it occurred, was a black spot, a known area of car accidents. So when investigators finally traced the white Toyota years later, they weren't hunting a man, they were building a case against someone who could never speak. And listen carefully, that crash happened just 2 days after Miyako was already dead, meaning he didn't carry his secret for years. He took it almost immediately to his own fiery grave. Miyako's family finally got a name and proof, but they never got a trial. No testimony, no cross-examination, no reason why. Since there was no record of phone calls or emails between Miyako and Yano, the police concluded that the two were not acquainted. At the same time, the police concluded that the man acted alone. Police could only reconstruct what likely happened from what the suspect left behind. Even so, On December 20th, police sent the case papers to prosecutors because the evidence was that strong. And then there was the second family, his younger brother and his brother's wife. The brother was the one who had to identify their mother after the crash. When his name became public years later, locals boycotted the brother's business. It collapsed, and he eventually moved away. Because the suspect didn't just kill Miyako, he set fire to everyone around him years later. Listen, most true crime stories end with handcuffs. This one ends with proof and an empty chair. A young woman vanished in the space between cameras. Her remains were scattered across a mountain like someone thought they could erase her. And the truth didn't arrive through a confession. It arrived through what was already there, recorded, stored, waiting until someone found and learned how to read it. So remember this, evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it looks like a normal car, parked in the right place on the right night, with the wrong person behind it. And by the time anyone understands what they saw, it's already gone. But somewhere in the dark, it was there, recorded, waiting to be read. Hey, I'll leave some other cases on screen for you to pick. You can discuss in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Do you think there was some kind of karma involved for this suspect to pass away? Or do you think he did it on purpose? This is still disputed. Thank you for watching. Victor out.